Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here. I'd like to welcome you all back to my channel. In this video, I will be showing everything I picked up at the Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Festival this past Saturday, April the 3rd. I will also be showing all the autographs and photos I was able to get with each and every celebrity I was able to meet and talk to. I will also be sharing a few of the stories from the many conversations we had. Needless to say, I had an amazing day, and it's a day that I will never forget. First up, I got to meet and talk with Zach Galligan, who of course is known for the Gremlins movies and the Waxworks movies, but we talked about his movie Cupid, and I think I might have slightly caught him off guard that was the movie that I had mentioned, because it is a lesser known hidden horror gem that more people need to see. But he spoke fondly of the movie, and we both agreed that it needed an updated release. I actually really regretted not talking to him about the Waxworks movies, but after I got to talking to him about Cupid, it completely slipped my mind. And out of everybody I got to meet, this was the shortest conversation I got to have, and that was all on me. This was just me getting started and getting warmed up, and kind of getting over some of the nervousness from all the built-up excitement. Zach was super nice, and if I ever do get a chance to meet and talk with him again, I will definitely talk to him about the Waxworks movies and ask him some of the questions that I have that I think would lead to a really interesting conversation. Next, I got to meet and talk with Michael Bearman, who was an absolute sweetheart of a human being to talk to. We mostly talked about The Hills Have Eyes 1 and 2 and Godzilla. He asked me about my theater experience of seeing Godzilla vs. Kong the night before. Me and my son's excitement for that movie seemed to build his excitement for it. We talked a little about COVID, and he told me about him getting his first shots and about how his wife works at a hospital. I thought that was really neat of him to share that with us. We had a pretty in-depth, long conversation, and I asked him if he had any new movies coming out, and he had told me, with the way things hit in 2020, that currently he has no new movies coming out, unfortunately. He was very nice, very approachable, and I could tell we could have spent hours talking. Next, I got to meet and talk to Bill Moseley, and he was just super nice. We mostly talked about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, and I asked him about working with Tobe Hooper, and he shared a really good story about the radio station scene in that movie. It truly sounded like they were having the time of their lives making that movie. He was really easy to talk to. We talked about Sid Haig, and he had a picture of him sitting there with him, and I could tell that he missed his friend. He got a pretty good laugh when I told him about the night before I had been watching Galaxy of Terror, starring Sid Haig. Of course, that was later on after I had gotten back home from seeing Godzilla vs. Kong. Anyway, Bill Moseley was super nice. Unfortunately, I didn't get to get a picture with him. He was behind his table having to do a lean over thing. So maybe if they have this again next year, I can get a good picture with him. Next up, I got to meet the absolutely gorgeous Scout Taylor Compton, who was also a sweetheart of a human being to talk to. She was very easy to talk to, and we shared a lot of laughs. It all started with her asking me how I was doing, and of course I was doing great, and I asked her in return, and she was doing great. And then I asked her how Cynthia was doing, and for those of you who don't know, she was in a creature feature movie called Cynthia, where she gives birth to a monster baby. We had fun talking about that movie, and she was really happy that I had seen it and had enjoyed the movie. She was also a little sad because it was her last movie with Sid Haig. I was wearing a J Super Awesome t-shirt promoting my channel, and she was the first person to ask me about it. She was asking me all about my channel and what I do, so I told her that maybe she could check it out sometime, maybe if she gets super bored or something. But she was super nice and really fun to talk to. Next, I got to meet and talk with Lynnea Quigley, and this was another really fun conversation. After our introductions, she really liked my name, by the way, thought it was a really strong name. Anyway, I asked her what her favorite movie that she got to be in was, and she said Return of the Living Dead, and of course, I thought that was an excellent choice. So we talked about Return of the Living Dead for a while, but we mostly talked about Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bolorama. So I asked her about part two, and she said they were talking about making a part two. And I told her it's listed on IMDb and has her name attached to it. So clearly the movie hasn't been made yet, and it's just in the planning process. I told her that hopefully they will make it, and she better get to be in it, or the fans are not going to be happy if she doesn't get to be in it. And her reply to that was, well, there you go. You go tell them that that's what you want. She was super sweet, very interactive with me and my family, and as everybody pretty much has been so far. Next, we got to meet and talk with Kane Hartley, and I can tell you at this point that the excitement couldn't have been any more intense for me and my son. We had been patiently awaiting his arrival, having already checked out almost everything that we was there to see in the first room of the event. We decided to make our way down to the next room of vendors, but before we could make it there, we ran right into Kane Hartley himself in the hallway. He immediately compliments my son on his Friday the 13th shirt, and I said, "We're coming back to meet you," and he replies with, "Don't threaten me." I thought that was so funny. He walks into the room and yells over to James Jude Courtney, who is the Shape, the newest version of Michael Myers, and tells him, "Halloween sucks." We were third in line for the signing, and we ended up having an amazing conversation with Kane. We talked about Friday the 13th Part 7 and John Carl Buechler. I talked about his movies Ed Gein and BTK. We also talked about Freddy vs. Jason, and I told him that he needed to be Jason at least 20 more times, and he thought that was pretty funny. Needless to say, I was definitely holding his line up, but it just felt like to me that we had so much to talk about, and he really seemed to be enjoying our conversation. And it really felt like to me we could have talked for hours. Definitely an amazing experience that I will never forget. The last person that I got to meet in the first room of the event was James Jude Courtney, and he was just super nice, like super nice. He could have easily charged me double for the price of the picture with me and my son, but he didn't. I opened up our conversation with a question that I knew I wasn't going to get an answer for, but I had to ask it anyway. So I asked him if he was finally able to kill off Laurie Strode, and I wasn't expecting an answer, and he answers with laughing and joking around at my ridiculous question about how he was basically forced to sign a massive legal document swearing him to secrecy. And I told him we at least all enjoy seeing him try to kill her. And this leads to our conversation about Halloween 2018 and all the excitement for Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends. It was just a really fun conversation, and you couldn't meet a nicer person in all honesty. So moving on, I was able to pick up a few figures from Replay Toys. They had a massive selection of toys and had a figure for almost any horror movie character you could think of. I thought their selection was quite impressive, and hopefully someday soon I will be able to go check out their store and see everything they have to offer. But once again, their selection was very impressive. I was also able to pick up a few Blu-rays from Scream Team Releasing, and I actually meant to stop back by their table and pick up a few more, but I did place an online order from them, so I have a few more of their Blu-rays coming. I also wanted to mention that they have a Indiegogo where you can help fund the barn too if you're interested in that. I just thought I would throw that out there just in case anybody is interested. I was able to get some artwork from Terrence Muncie, who is an amazing artist, and hopefully in the future I will be able to pick up more of his artwork. He had about anything you can imagine, from 80s cartoon characters to iconic horror movie characters. And now that I'm thinking about it, I really wish I would have bought more from him already, because he had a ton of Masters of the Universe artwork that I would really love to have. Next up, I got to meet Daren Dixon, the writer and director and actor of the movie D4. I bought his movie and he gave me a free poster. It looks like a fun action, horror, sci-fi type movie. I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. It was released by Ghostwater Films. Next, I got to meet Corey Jordan from 13 Knot Productions and got a signed copy of his film Chicken's Blood. I got number 27 out of 300. I really made it a point to pick up some independent horror films, and Chicken's Blood looks like a slasher movie that's right up my alley. I also got to meet Jeff Wedding of Gypsy Root Productions. He was really nice, and it felt really cool to meet a local horror movie director. I bought his slasher movie Blind, and he gave me a copy of his newer movie Tennessee Gothic. I thought that was so nice of him. I wanted to pay him for his movie, but he wanted me to have it. I felt completely humbled by his extremely kind gesture. And at some point, I hope to get reviews for both of these films up on my channel. I also got this promo poster at their table for Dementor, a film by Chad Crawford Kinkle. They didn't have a physical copy for this one, but they did let me know that it's available to watch on Amazon Prime. In closing, it was just an amazing day that far exceeded my expectations. I got to meet and talk with so many amazing people, celebrities that I thought I would never meet. It was such an amazing experience, a little overwhelming to tell the truth. It was truly a lot to take in, but it's definitely a day that I will never forget. And with that being said, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you think about my video. And as always, I would like to thank you all for watching.